All week, Las Vegas has been alive with anticipation. The strip lights, the movement, the moment. It all feels different when the best in the world arrive. For the athletes of Adrenaline, this week wasn't just about competition. It was about proving something. To the fans, to each other, to themselves. From the moment they touched down at Resorts World, the energy was electric. Cameras rolling, phones up. Every movement, every glance documented and dissected. Open workouts gave us a first look. Flashes of brilliance, hints of rivalry. But behind the smiles, there's tension. Everyone knows who they face when the lights go on. Thursday, the media car wash. A chance for the world to meet the faces behind the movement. These aren't just athletes, they're creators, innovators, storytellers, each redefining what the body is capable of. By Friday, the press conference made it real. Anderson and Turner, two names now tied by fate. One chasing redemption, the other opportunity. Both with everything to lose. Now the waiting is over. 1 week in Vegas has led to one night that will change everything. The cameras are ready. The stage is set. Welcome to the next chapter in movement. Welcome to the Adrenaline Tricking League.
What is up, people? Welcome back to the live. Oh man, we just wrapped up the biggest event in tricking history. November 15th is going to go down historically. The inaugural Adrenaline Tricking League event. It's wrapped up. We got a lot to talk about on today's show. Everything and anything tricking. What's good, Jimmy? How you doing, bro?
Man, it's like a fever dream, right? It's crazy that it's over. It almost feels like it just was a blink and it happened. I mean, but watching that trailer, that tease that we did for the live stream, I've just got goosebumps watching that alone. And again, all the things we're doing to paint this sport the right way as we grow the league. And if you can tell a little bit, my voice might be gone from the event.
Mine too. The adrenaline has officially worn off. Now we're back to just living on a little coffee. As honestly,
a little bit of that layered superfood, clean energy every day. You know what I'm saying? It's keeping it going for me.
exactly. I had mine this morning. I mean, shout out to Laird Superfood. We appreciate you guys supporting, but I mean, oh man, we're already, got to recap this event and then start jumping into the next one. That's the beautiful part about the league. We're going to be jumping in left and right to the next one.
One thing I just want to say at the top, this is the foundation for the league. I mean, we can talk about all the challenges that came with this event, and we will talk about some of them, but we did this event in under 50 days. I don't think anyone will ever quite realize what that means from an event promoting standpoint, but I'm talking like 50 days, dude. That is insane. When you talk about we were doing that in half a year for the other events, and it came with its own challenges. But at the end of the day, our mission has always been we need to do everything possible to support the athletes. So when this opportunity came up and it was like, hey, back in July or whatever, do you want to wait until next year to do your first event, or you want to get up and get one off this year? And we're both like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. So this event to me was really about keeping the athletes active and setting a foundation for the league for us to grow. We wanted to just get it done immediately, get the athletes going immediately, and be able to set ourselves up to just conquer 2026. So there's a lot that we are going to improve on as a league, event to event, and we're going to talk about some of these things. So,
well, I think a good point you hit on there was just that everything we're doing right now is for these athletes. I mean, truly, the athletes and the fans, that's number one and number two right now of everything we're focusing on and doing, because if anybody was in that room and anybody that watches these trickers thinks they do not deserve this and they don't deserve a professional platform where where they can start to actually make a career's living on, just like every other sport. And again, I'm not even just talking about the big four stick and ball sports or even the UFC. I mean, you look at skaters now, surfers, these other action movement sports, dancing. People are making full-time careers doing it. There's no reason tricking doesn't deserve that. And that's entirely what we are doing with the league.
And there were so many cool things that came out of this event. It wasn't just, oh, battles on Saturday. I mean, on Friday, that open workout in the Resorts World District shopping area, like that was one of the coolest things ever. I mean, I think we can roll something in to show our chat on the live. And if you missed it, we actually live streamed the whole thing. So make sure to go back and watch our live stream of the athlete open workout in the shopping mall. It was really cool. I mean, you had this globe running with our ad showing the Saturday night show. You had everything moving, people tricking in the public shopping area. And then we did for the first time the official adrenaline coin toss.
Yeah. Yeah. And, to talk about the coin toss for a second, I really thought that was one of the coolest things. We've always talked about, with the face-offs, like we've done the face-offs in the past and we're like, what can we do to make it feel a little bit more meaningful in the sense of like, what is that thing we can do? And the coin toss worked out honestly perfectly because given we do the time passes and it switches back and forth in the past, we've just done that honestly in the background. We've done that between the athletes privately. We've never done it in a public setting. We hate the idea of doing it right there on the battle floor. It's just taking up time in the show. So making that its own ceremonial thing, I thought was so cool. It was really, to me, I think one of the most unique parts was seeing what the strategy. I mean, honestly, some athletes were, when they won the coin toss, they're like, no, I want to go second. And then you had some of them saying, I want to start. And it was that mental game. And the battle started right then. And that is the coolest thing we're going to do. Talking about it is like when you go to timed battles, is the strategy. There is so much more strategy that goes into it because it's multiple rounds. It's time. It's not just pass for pass. And honestly, I think that kind of dives into the next subject is kind of the whole judging system and things like that. But just kind of talking about the coin toss, I thought that was a really cool thing we did publicly.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many things to this event that are, setting an amazing foundation for everything to grow. When you talk about a coin toss as its own event, really, right? There's a world where, I mean, if you think about the hundreds of people in the shopping area that were coming to watch just a coin toss. And if we can jump back to me, I can show you the coin for anyone that missed it. So this is the official adrenaline coin, which is pretty cool. You have the red side and the blue side. And these are going to be something that we are making moving forward as well. So again, all these little things are drawing people in, bringing attention to the sport, and that's storytelling, right?
Well, in chat, what's up, chat? Yeah, drop questions. This episode, we're going to be answering so many things. I'm seeing, some talk about the chat, about how we want to focus in on getting a bigger coin, making it more active, things like that, just giving more visual. And that's something we're going to focus on. So we appreciate your guys' feedback on that. But yeah, let's talk about the battles a little bit. Let's talk about the judging, honestly, just to start out here. I think something I want to clarify, and Jimmy, I think you're on the same page here. Guys, we did not agree with every call that night. And that's okay. We're not going to agree with every call that happens every single night. We're not over. That's the whole point of having a judging system and everything like that. We're never going to go on stage and be like, we veto this call. That's not how sports work. That's not how this works. There's a whole judging system. All the judges get certified in. All of the athletes had the judging system. Everything was translated. Everybody went in knowing the criteria they were being judged on. And just like any sport, there's going to be improvements on it. And that's something I think that really needs to be talked about here is the NBA has been around for over 75 years. They made changes to the rule book this year. The NFL's been around for I don't even know how long. They made changes this year. The UFC just made changes this year. It is something that's constantly going to be changed and upgraded. And my job and Jimmy's job as the owners and founders and CEOs of the league is not to go to the judges on what we thought maybe was a missed call or maybe a call we didn't agree with. It's not our job to say, hey, you got this wrong. No, it's our job to look at the data, and something that I think is really cool to explain to the audience. Every judge's data is captured. So we're going to be able to go through the analytics, review every single judge's data, and then decide, okay, not, hey, you got this call wrong, but explain to us how you got to this call using the system, using the criteria you're given. And then we learn off that.
And to talk about the judges for a moment too, that's a really hard job. I mean, hindsight's 2020. It's really easy to have a slow-mo, recap where you can pick it apart and actually have like probably the correct answer in hindsight. But look at it. I mean, look at these billion-dollar sports that are having missed calls in the Super Bowl, in the World Series. I mean, even with all the technology and resources and money that goes behind it. So that is going to be part of our job. And the number one part of our job is setting our judges up to succeed, as well as holding them accountable. But by no means does this be something we don't want dialogue around. I mean, shout out to Kojo. We saw his breakdown of the battle. I loved it. That's the type of dialogue I want on every single battle. I think it's so good for the sport. It's good for the fans. It's good for engagement. And as we bring more fans that are, as the tricking community likes to say, muggles coming into this thing, there's going to be more controversy. There's going to be more people that hopefully we empower to think they're experts on the sport that weigh in and give their opinion. That dialogue is good. I'm hoping it's not always as toxic, but the dialogue around battles, winners and losers, I mean, that's how you know it's a sport people care about.
I was just going to say, and again, I think for people that are seeing tricking for the first time, and people that follow other sports. I mean, guys, I'm a Warriors fan. If you didn't know that, you should by now. I'm a Steph Curry diehard fan here. If you go on Twitter after every NBA game, look at what happens when they win or they lose. It's that conversation. And again, I think that's something what people need to learn is the conversations is what matters. It's showing that people truly care for what's going on. If there was no conversations, that's when I would be like, oh man, we got to figure things out here, right? So again, I think that's something to really take in consideration. We did not agree with every single call that night. I think a lot of people maybe didn't. I don't know how, but that's the beautiful part about it. Again, we're going to go back, we're going to tighten it up, and we're going to constantly make improvements to it. And again, not look at, hey, you did this wrong, but look at what every judge came up with the analytics we get. And we're going to be able to work off that. And I think something I see in the chat is
I was going to say, shout out, to Malik.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to really focus in on too. Again, this whole judging system eventually is going to be public for everybody to see so they can truly understand the rules in a more detailed version. Again, given we had a short window, we wanted to give something for people, but it's going to be something we're going to dive more and more detail into as we move forward here.
Yeah, Matt, can we pin Malik's comment for a sec? I think it's something that we can hit on for a second here, but there are weighted things for scoring, and the live broadcast touches on it, but the broadcast is not meant to be the official rule book for everybody to understand and use and helpful. That is meant for the broad audience, right, to get a quick understanding of what is being judged and kind of aid the discussion that our commentary team is building towards them, right? But we have a very in-depth rule book that is translated, that is given to all the athletes, that we did have a meeting with the judges, that we also met with athletes on individually beforehand as well as part of our signing process. And that, again, as Maguire mentioned, is going to be something that is constantly updated and made better and better and better every single time. Now, as we start to tweak that, it will become a public thing. We are honing it in a little bit more, but this will be made public for consumption, right? This will be something that we loan out to other events to have and use our scoring system as we start to grow and try to build a proper structure with the league.
I think something that was really cool was talking to all of the athletes. And I think that's something people need to do is look at all the athletes, look at what they're posting, look at what they're talking about, the athletes that competed, even the athletes who lost, right? Talking to them, they aren't saying, oh man, this and that. Look at what Taka's posting. Taka's like, hey, I know what I need to work on. I know what my team needs to work on to get better, to prepare more for this style of battle and competition. I think that's something that's really exciting is all the athletes got this one. It's been a 2-year gap. Again, we've been doing time battles. We'll talk about that in a second. We've been doing time battles forever. So that's not new for the athletes, but this judging system coming out and being more friend faced, I think is going to be something as we move forward, and it's going to be exciting to see how the athletes
public facing. Exactly. Speaking of that public facing, this coming from Chosen Kin, Will Adrenaline partner with Tricking Schools. I want to give a quick shout out to the Loop Kicks youth that came out, had an amazing time at the event. And yes, part of all of this as we start to grow the league, there's going to be more interaction with studios, gyms, other events. There's going to be more growth and opportunity for fans to engage at our events as well. And like Maguire said, this was a quick turnaround. If we did not have literally 50 days to do this event, the rule book probably would have been public before the event. But again, it's honestly a good thing because we can tweak it, make it a little bit better before the next one. But it's something that will always be a work in progress, always be, revolutionary.
totally agree. And we'll talk more when we bring on the goat here shortly. But let's talk about the scouting for a second, guys.
The scouting session's a perfect segue.
Parts of the entire weekend. Oh my goodness. That session was one of the most exciting parts of the whole weekend because, and we knew it was. There were so many people. There's people that flew in around from the world for that session to earn their spot. And you saw it. You saw everybody was sweaty. You saw that, that whole energy and motion going involved and, kind of playing this clip out. Shout out to the 6 we brought on from the scouting on this sense. Iori, TKD Monkey, Judah, Gabe Logan, Chris, and Cho Jane. And one thing to emphasize, these 6 guys that we talked about, we said we're going to bring one of them on for sure. One of them's getting an adrenaline contract, but they're going to continue to be scouted. And there was other people that we had on a list. I mean, Mike will talk about this too. We had about 15 names that we wrote down that we are scouting and we're going to be reaching out to and letting them know, hey, keep training because this is an active thing. It's not a, hey, once a year scouting event or once every 2 years you can get scouted for the league. We are constantly scouting. We're constantly seeing how you're progressing online and we're constantly looking at you event to event because I will tell you guys this right now. The card we had slated is not the card that happened that night. There was a lot of changes, some of them publicly, obviously, with Michael getting hurt, but there was a lot of other battles that we had slated that ended up not happening, and we pivoted and brought people in sooner than we thought. We switched battles around. That's going to be a constant thing moving forward, and that format's never going to change because the storylines are insane. I mean, we already know the 2 main battles for next event. We got Michael versus Alexander, and we got Fuchu versus Pinto. We already know what we're slated for, and we get to hype that up and talk about that until that next event starts. But for athletes getting scouted, I think that's something that's really exciting, is it's an ongoing process. And everybody that participated that night killed it.
Couldn't agree more. And again, shout out to our partners at Resorts World. Anyone that was there, and if you weren't there, hopefully you got to experience it in our lives, got to just really see them push us, again, being in this shopping area with a spring floor, doing all these activations, public piece of content, having the globe running, having this massive LED west wall running adrenaline, running tricking. I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of people that are seeing it throughout the course of a weekend. It's 2 football fields big. And again, just their belief in this sport to push us and push the league forward meant a lot. I mean, look at that thing. It's a mini sphere inside of the hotel. So I think for the athletes, it was really cool for them to feel and be portrayed as professional athletes by Laird Superfood, by Resorts World, by these outside brands. And this is, again, just the tip of the iceberg. And there were so many good things that came out of this quick event, this quick turnaround. We have a few more things we do want to talk through. But before that, I think it's only right to bring on the GOAT, who unfortunately wasn't able to compete, but can give his athlete perspective on the whole event as well.
There he is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. That's all I was saying. I was like, I think I'm muted, so I'm gonna wait. But first of all, shout out to Matt for being the man behind the scenes. Doesn't need his face to be anywhere on anything. He's just working hard. So big shout out to Matt. I'm trying to like line this up so whenever it's the single bar, I'm in frame. But yeah, shout out, much love to Matt for making these live streams and the events what they are behind the scenes, and you guys as well. This event was, like you said, quick turnaround, and it was phenomenal. This was my first time really getting to like take a step back and view it through a different lens. And that was kind of how I approached it, to have like that glass half full mentality versus empty. Obviously with being injured, it's never easy for an athlete. It's mentally tolling as well as physically, obviously. But being able to take that step back and just like seeing all the hard work that's been put in since I joined, not just adrenaline, but tricking at 9 years old. I'm 31 now. So to see the growth from a whole new perspective and seat, front row of the house, shout out, thank you for that spot. It was a phenomenal spot. I truly enjoyed myself, and watching all the athletes just pour their hearts out on the floor and seeing the crowd get into it. And it's truly becoming a sport, when you have people reacting the way they do. I mean, like, not to bring up anything crazy, but just like seeing the way that people felt emotional and like hatred towards Jacob. He's playing a great heel. I mean, he loves that villain role, and every good sport kind of needs that villain. I mean, people hate the Chiefs, people hated Tom Brady, people hate on WWE guys, so it's needed. So it kind of helps add a lot of the variety on things. So before I rant too long, we can move on to other questions, but that's off the top of my head where I'm at with everything. It was truly incredible, and I'm really thankful to be able to take that perspective in.
Well, you said it right there, and I thought that was a great point because everybody thought when they first saw you and Alexander, where there's real beef, obviously, but everyone thought that was staged. And then when you got injured, Ethan came in. I think all of those same people kind of got quiet because I think they're all expecting, oh, Ethan's going to come in here and start throwing middle fingers around and getting aggressive. That's not what happened. Ethan Turner was Ethan Turner. Michael Guthrie's Michael Guthrie. Jacob Pinto's Jacob Pinto. Our whole thing is we are the platform for you guys as athletes. We're never saying, oh, hey, man, here's your script. Here you go at it. It's like, no, just like no other sport does that, really besides the WWE. But when you look at, again, NBA, there's guys in there that are the most loved faces of the league, and then there's those villains, and it's just who they are as people, and it's really the league itself, which is a media company, putting that on blast, right? And I think that's something we'll talk more about, but it's just like you said, seeing this live, and honestly being able to watch the replay, it's just showing the future and how bright it is for tricking. Seeing the emotion in the room, seeing people get so emotionally invested, that's how you know tricking is going to be a huge sport, just like all these other ones, because people are so emotionally invested. And shout out to the production team. I mean, chat, I don't know how much you guys know in detail, but obviously we brought up Matt on our team. We got Bill, Mandy, the entire team crushed it. These guys have over 20 plus Emmys in sports production. So to have them, we are truly blessed to really be taking the production side of tricking to that whole new level.
Well, and to that point, Maguire, again, like you said, no one's getting handouts of their scripts leading up to or out of the battle. Our job as a league is to showcase every single athlete's personality and just give them that platform, right? We're never going to limit free speech. We're never going to do any of those things as a league. That being said, when there are times it crosses the line, we handle that with the athletes directly. We do have fines in place, just like every other league out there. We've had to do some of those. We do have that due diligence and that caretaking on our end to make sure it is as clean as possible. But at the same time, we have to let the athletes be the athletes, or this thing does not run. Our entire job is to shed light on who they are as competitors, who they are off the floor. And then the beautiful part is you as a fan get to decide if you want to root for them or against them, just like Mike mentioned with the Chiefs or Brady. And it's going to change over time. You're going to have people that have crazy arcs of a villain arc that become the most loved people in tricking, and vice versa. People are the most loved and become the most hated. So all of that makes for a good story, and all of that brings more attention, eyeballs, and fanfare to tricking.
Hey, guilty as charged. I've been in that line of fire where I kind of cross the line a little bit, and it's good to have someone kind of keep you in check. And on that same note, for anybody that was, involved or keeping up with any of the beef with Alexander, we have been friends, and we have spent good time together, and then this kind of really like we crossed a line to where it definitely put a dent in our friendship for a little bit. But I'd like to think that I think it was Friday night. Maybe it was Thursday night right when I got there. But either way, I ran into Alexander walking around and went up to him and I was just like, listen, hey, I would never rob you of an opportunity. I'm not like faking an injury to miss out on battling you. I would never do that for anyone. In fact, I battled injured last time. So
Yeah.
if anything, I just want to like give the opportunity of giving that full 100% and not, just taking a paycheck just so that I don't know exactly how you want to put that, but either way, we squashed beef. We're cool. Everything's good. Um, it was great to see him and see him perform well, and he was very
Yeah.
passionate about that win. So, congratulations to him. Everything is all good. It's all love. But yeah,
You,
you guys do a great job of keeping everybody in check. There's absolutely no script involved. We are allowed to free speech as much as we please.
you said it there though too. I mean, and the reason I think tensions get so high now is there's so much on the line. It's not, again, hey man, let's just battle and hug each other after because who freaking cares? I just beat you on like a freaking open session, man. It's like, no, there's a lot at stake. You want to win. He wants to win. You guys are gonna do what it takes to win. I mean, that's where the sport's at now.
Maguire, I think a really good example of that is the 2v2 battle. And I know we're going to talk about all the battles in a moment, but those guys are really tight. And if you've seen any of them battle each other before, they're constantly damping each other up after pass for pass and pass. But during this battle, they were intense. They were locked in, lasered. Now, no, that doesn't mean there was beef or anything, but you could just see a little bit more intensity and seriousness in this battle. And I think it led to one of the best 2v2 battles of all time with the stuff that they were throwing. So to me, that intensity, it's like pressure makes diamonds. It's going to bring the elite athletes out of the woodwork, and it's going to, give a platform for people to show their best selves. So, as we're starting to talk about battles, I don't want to jump the gun too much, but one thing I wanted to talk about again, just as we're starting to identify growing points in the league, there's also things that we know we're doing correct, and as they will play out over time, it will be something that comes, I think, to kind of the public mindset. But it's the times battles, right? And how important they are to keep this a sport that fans want to engage with and hold our athletes to a standard of professionalism as well.
I couldn't agree more. And before we get too far away from it and moving on to the next thing, in the same sense of like you guys don't script anything, it's like you guys are not scripting the judges either. I'm kind of touching back on what you guys were talking about before I hopped in. And I keep looking down because I'm keeping up with chat here. Uh, I'll update everybody as I know more about my shoulder. It's looking like I'm able to get into an MRI this week. The American healthcare system and how they love to take their time. But I'm assuming from lots of talking that I've done with other people and as my physical therapist as well, it's probably a torn labrum of the left shoulder, which we'll get into more detail as time goes. But my point is, and where I'm circling back to from what we were talking about earlier, is you guys are not scripting the judges. And anybody that's online talking about adrenaline rigged it for this person or this person, you guys have such a genuine relationship with like everybody in the league. I think the last thing that you would want to do is leave someone with that taste in their mouth that you did rig it for someone else, because then that only hurts you guys and not having more athletes or teams or gyms involved because they're afraid that you're going to rig it. And I think the athletes know that that's not the case. You guys are not picking sides. I think you guys genuinely have a great relationship with like everyone in the league. And honestly, it's coming to be more not just everyone in the league, but everyone in the community. You guys are trying to harbor just a positive relationship with everyone on every aspect. So those of you that feel a certain type of way about that take that up with the judges. I know it's Brother Bailey, Brother Dom, it's your brothers, but they are the ones that made the decision. So if you feel a certain type of way about that, message them, put them on your story because they're the ones who are to be held accountable. And like they said earlier, they don't agree with every call. So just take a step back and remember that. That's all I'm trying to remind everybody for. I think the judges still did a great job. It's not an easy job at all. And
Hard,
there's
hard.
vigorous training that goes into what they have to do. So I
It's
think,
also, Mike, it's
congratulations to the
also
judges, to the referees, all the above. I think everybody did a fine job.
it's also a muscle that you have to flex and exercise. And for us not having events for a moment and coming back, the judging will get cleaner, more concise, all of that stuff. And to your point, ultimately, it always comes back in the league, just like every other league. When there's a bad call by a single ref in one of the 20 games on Sunday for the NFL, comes back on the league. So that's fine. We hold ourselves to a different
Sure.
standard than any other event. And right, we're doing all the things to set our judges up for success. But at the end of the day, this will be something that will be an issue forever. Like this will never be 100%, right? The NFL, NBA with billions of dollars, will never get every call 100% right. So our job is just to set them up for success, have that transparency. Because like you said, could you imagine like having us to talk to an athlete after the event where we feel like, hey, we kind of agree with you. It was not a good call. Like I went up to an athlete and told him I thought you should have won afterwards, and we as a league, yeah. And we as a
Dana
league
White,
keep that.
Dana White does it every Saturday night. Dana White has a call he doesn't agree with, and he goes and tells that athlete the same thing, just like we did. That's part of growing a league. That's part of it. It's always going to be there. You're always going to have people. But again, I go back to the fact people are talking about it is what matters. People stop talking about it. That's when we have an issue. So I couldn't agree more on that sense. And guys, I got to jump into, let's jump into this time topic. Time battles is the fair way for competition, and that will never change. We're going to address some of these things right now because I got to be honest. Some of the things I heard, you're being flat out dumb here. If you're going to tell me that a time battle is what causes an injury, guys, let's break this down from a backside.
No data to support that.
Every single athlete had a training room. They had a training room for each side that they had all week long to get prepped and ready. You don't get that
With
other
curtains.
event.
It's not like you have to trick in front of your opponent. There's curtains that divide it. So there's the red side and there's the blue side,
That is
or
the
the white
number one
shorts and the gray
issue with
shorts.
all these other events. It is the fact that imagine you're sitting down crisscross applesauce for an hour, then you're told to go up and throw triple combo variations from static to high level, right? We're having warm-up rooms so athletes can build to that moment of competition.
There was 3 athletes, and again, Reg Messino and both Jacob came into it a little banged up. They, that's something they both said, right? What happened with Senna, and I am blessed to hear it wasn't anything, there was no tear from what we were told. We were able to get him in right away, get his knee back in place, things like that. But tricking is a dangerous sport. Like, these guys aren't playing video games here. It looks like a video game. This is a dangerous sport. These guys are doing dangerous moves. That's going to happen whether you're in your gym, whether you're hanging out with friends, or whether you're battling on the biggest stage ever. And I'm sure the bright lights, the stage, the audience size, nerves are at a higher, your adrenaline's higher. These things all play into factor. But to say that time is the reason why when these athletes are set up for success, super bad take on that sense. And I will tell you right now, and again, I know I'm going for a second, guys, bear with me, but let's break down the time. When you do a pass for pass battle, I start the battle, I stumble. Mike, what are you going to do? You're going to hit an easy combo. You win the round. Okay, the next one, same thing. There is no chance to win if you're going first and you mess up. With the time battle, not only do we switch who goes first after every single round, but it gives you a minute to prove yourself. It gives you a minute to win the round, not a pass where if you're going second, you're just banking on the guy to mess up.
And on
Well, and I'll
top of
play
that,
off of that as well. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
no, go for it, Mike.
I'm reading the chat too as I'm listening. Going full ADHD right now with.
I was going to say, pin the Gerda's tricking comment, Matt. I think that's a good one we can talk about for a second because every sport in the world, whether it's kids soccer, I mean, I can't tell you how many ACLs there are in kids soccer. Like sports are dangerous. Sports are dangerous. We do them because we love them and it's good for you. It's healthy, it's active. But at the same time, especially when you're competing and not just training or having fun with it, they are dangerous. So it's our job to make sure we put all of the systems in place to account for that. We had an EMT on site. We had a medic on site. We got someone to the ambulance that needed to get there. Even on the participant side, the day before, we had a bump into heads and it was unfortunate, but we got that person in the ambulance. We had our medic and EMT on site, and it is a union property, so we have to use their EMT. There will be venues we can bring our own medical staff in, but we did all of the right things. And man, I've seen other events out there where someone snapped their leg and they were sitting there for 10 minutes and never went to the hospital before flying back home. So again, we take athlete care extremely seriously as a league. And if you don't see that by now, it's insane. I mean, between what we're investing into the athletes, what we're doing with the warm-up floors, what we're doing with their scheduling, what we're doing to have all the proper care on site. And again, we're a tiny drop in the bucket when you compare ourselves to other leagues, right? Compared to the NFL, compared to the NBA. All of these things we're doing from the jump, from the very, very first inaugural event. We have all of these things in place, and they're going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to get better. And I know all of the athletes feel that care too.
And I want to take another shout out, not to glaze you guys, but I mean, to you guys for even addressing this and making it publicly known on here. I wasn't going to say the name, but I'm just going to say it and throw it out there because why not? With Hooked, they had a controversial floor. They had a floor that a lot of athletes were complaining about. I know someone specifically that I follow on Instagram, and I'll keep his name private for his sake, but he filmed part of their floor, lifted it up underneath, and they had like a deflated air floor underneath the mat, and people were getting repeatedly injured, and he was reporting on that on his social media. They made him delete it because it makes them look bad. You guys are owning up to the fact that you have massive amounts of athlete care, and I can atone for that because the night before, when I was checking out the event, walking up and looking at the lights and the floor, there was like I think 10, 20 people working on the floor, making sure it's proper, getting feedback. I think they were even adding in chalk because someone said it was slippery. They worked in like chalk. There was people literally slaving on making sure the floor was perfect and proper and making changes the night before to make sure that everything was safe and the floor is being, getting feedback from athletes on making those adjustments. What event is doing that?
Well,
Or you guys
and
certainly aren't deleting footage for people complaining about the floor. You're addressing it now. So there's no
One,
hiding behind mistakes here.
and a great thing, Malik, I just saw what you said exactly. It's people training for it. It's
yes.
athletes training for this style of battle and competition. And, when you do the time, again, it's now these guys are professional athletes. You're a professional athlete. In any other sport, you take the NBA, it's the fourth quarter. Guys are tired. The NBA is not saying, hey, we're going to give you guys a 20-minute break so everyone can rest up. Or same thing in a UFC fight. Hey, the NBA last year, Steph Curry, they did game 7 and they had to fly to Minnesota and play game 1 the next day. That's part of sports, and the athletes are going to continue to train to become the best they can to prepare for this. And now, Mike, it's time to give you your flowers here because people don't realize you've done at the last 2 adrenaline events, both 1v1 and 2v2, have won both times, and to me, have
And they
shown
both go the full round of rounds. I think it was each one was 3 rounds. We had tiebreakers, so there was extra passes involved. And again, like we've talked about this before, hey, it's 2, 3 minutes of your life. 2 to 3 minutes. And when there is even tiebreakers, it's not much more. At least you're
yeah,
not playing for the Dodgers for 19 innings and playing another game the next day.
yeah, it's
To
it's
be
part of
clear,
it's part of
too,
the sport.
to be
Go for it.
clear too, by no means are we undermining the insane, intense effort, risk, everything that go into these battles from the athletes. Like we realize they are
Absolutely.
literally putting their bodies on the line. And that's part of the reason for our exclusivity. right? I mean, let's talk about that for a sec. That's part of the reason we as a league have athletes battle exclusively with us, because we know the amount of proper care we're putting into it. We know the risk that they're doing every single time they step onto the floor, whether it's a training gym or especially in competition with heightened kind of adrenaline, right? It's extra. So for that, they should be compensated, and they are with this league. They are
And
compensated for the injury risk. Senna was compensated, even though he got injured, right? He was compensated just to show up. And that's what it needs to be, because they are putting their bodies in the line, and we take that extremely seriously and are doing everything we can as a league to grow it. And guess what? As the league grows, it's going to get even better.
if you can't see,
Exactly. It doesn't matter if he got second or third in the bracket after battling for how many battles? How many passes did he have to do to get second or third? Just to
Well,
break
even in
your
the
ankle?
bracket, if it's a bracket, you're hot and cold all night. I mean, you're waiting an hour and
Yep.
then you're going again. That's so much worse for injuries. I mean, that's why you have to have warm up time for pitchers, like all the things. The worst thing you can do is be hot and cold. The best thing you can do is get warm and stay warm and then be done. So that's, to me, another reason for the head to head for the time battles too.
and again, this is something we're going to see athletes work on and get more well conditioned. And again, I go back to you, Mike. You've done it, and anybody now that looks back on how hard it was, again, oh, Ethan was gassed out. Which one? Shout out to Ethan. He won a bonus that night. He
Yeah.
he killed it. He stepped up for the company. Huge shout out to Ethan. But Mike, what you've done the last 2 years is proof in case anybody that has seen the kind of conditioning and cross training you do to get ready for battles, that is why. And we saw it the last 2022 and 2023.
Hey, I appreciate it. I gotta say thank you. I know it's a lot of fun doing the two in one night, and it can be a mix up of, are you gonna be tired in your second one, or are you gonna get more fired up? Thankfully, I have some sort of a weird Nate Diaz style of cardio where I just get better as the night goes on. He doesn't get going until like round five.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz has never lost a fight. He's only just run out of time, right? But
I got one thing. I got one thing to add. I got one thing to add here, chat. A little behind the scenes, Mr. Michael Guthrie, back in 2022. I remember after the battle, I remember we were trying to set up you versus Jose. And I remember all you said to me was, I want 5 rounds. You said, I want 5 rounds and I'll take that kid, and I just remember that conversation, and that goes back to, again, you're a cardio machine. And like you said, you almost get warmed up as rounds go on. A lot of people don't realize, I'm not here to say what you do in terms of battle strategy, but I know you have a way you like to almost lure people into the battles and then go from there.
Drag him into the deep water, so to speak.
that's exactly what my dad says. He's always like, dude, quit giving them round one. It pisses me off. And I'm like, but it just works for me to like play it out a little bit, disguise it that I'm giving my all in that first round, and then you get tired, and that's not my fault.
I know
But my
you're a
dad's like, no more of that. So we'll see.
you're a Chiefs guy, but they say Josh Allen needs to get like sacked once to wake up, right? And start actually throwing the ball. He needs to get hit like
He's a
hard
big
once.
guy though, man. I
Yeah.
don't think that's gonna shake him up. He's a tank. And hey, even as a Chiefs fan, I can say I'm a fan of Josh Allen. I'm a fan of some of those guys. And I'll circle back to what Maguire said. Hey, I appreciate you making it known that we did try to make Shosei versus me happen. I don't run from anybody. I don't get to pick my battles either. I do what I'm told. I have a job. What my bosses say, I do that. You guys tried to set it up. It wasn't my fault that it didn't happen. It wasn't your fault that it didn't happen. So who's running?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and we've talked about it many times. I mean, even going into this one, I mean, you know, Alexander made sense for what was pretty much being
Sure.
slated with the 2v2, things like that. But we've already thrown out big names that everyone here in the chat knows that we're going to see you battle in the future and that you wanted at the end of the day. And I think that's something, you know, that's the beautiful part about the league. And again, going back on the league as a whole, the nice part is we don't have to wait a year to see it. We're only going to wait a
Yes.
few months to see the next battle, and then the battle after that. And there's going to be tons of movement throughout the league and the rankings and things like that.
Real quick, that the chat, our fans, tricking fans, have not seen the true benefit of head-to-head battles yet. They haven't.
Yeah.
because it has been annual, but now with the league where it is recurring, by like event 3, you're going to start to really feel like, oh, wow, this is why head to head makes so much more sense because the storylines become so much more organic, the power rankings, and you're not waiting forever, right? It's hard when it's head to head battles and you wait a year between events, but now with multiple events year round, it's going to give everyone what they want in the sense of the best battles, but also the anticipation, the build, the stories in and out. So that's what I'm excited for. I know we're talking an event that we just did a few days ago, but I'm already excited to our next event, and it looks like someone's asking where the next one is. I mean, I think we can pretty confidently say the next one is most likely, and again, we're going to be announcing our schedule towards the end of the year, most likely in the City of Angels, LA. So that's going to be a really exciting one. Again, it's all subject to change. We're going to be announcing later this year the official slate, but we're going to be going to East Asia. We're going to be going to Korea. We're going to be going to Japan by next year. So there's a lot to be excited about, chat. There's a lot of great things coming.
Well, and then one final topic before we get into Mike, your kind of thoughts on the battles, Ethan versus Alexander, etc. Is we got to talk about the defending champ Mito. Wow,
What a baller.
wow. She has been on a tear, undefeated in the league. I mean, there's very few people. I mean, I know, and it's funny yourself, Minchol, and Mito all having the title and been undefeated for this long. And, you know, she was phenomenal. And shout out to Goon, who also killed it, making her adrenaline debut. But, I mean, man, Mito put on a show like always. I mean, she's doing things I wish I could have done.
She carries herself really professionally as well. So I want to shout Mito out for, and I've seen some things online where it's like, hey, she really should have had a translator out there. I'm gonna say she has really gotten so great at English. She's a great English speaker. Obviously, it's not her first language, but for how young she is, and I haven't seen her since what was it, 2022 or 2023? Was it 2023? Yeah.
23, yeah.
Her her growth in being able to speak English is I was like, wow, your English has gotten so good. We actually got to have a little conversation, just her and I. There was no one else in there helping her. So to defend her, I think it was more so just in shock. I mean, she's so young and
Won
she's
the
just so
title.
happy. Yeah, she's just so happy
Well, and
to keep out there healthy, able to do what she loves, and she's just stoked. There's a whole crowd going nuts for her, chanting her name. How else do you expect to be at that age? Of course she's going to be a little speechless. She was phenomenal.
well, and even for that, Mike, again, we as a league know this, and as we grow, we're under the
Sure.
biggest microscope in the sport, right? No one will ever say anything when we do it right. Like, for instance, the CBS event, we did have a translator for her post battle interview, right? We had one lined up for this event. They fell out the day of, unfortunately, so we couldn't get one in time. We did all the right things in terms of translating the rule book for them, having meetings with judges translated, having interviews where we remoted in translators for the kind of interviews up top before, right? All the right things, but the day of, that person fell out, and it's unfortunate. So, of course, we went to meet him and said, hey, like, we don't have to do a post battle interview with you. And she's like, no, I wanted to because, to your point, her English has gone a lot better. And she just wanted a moment to say something. But I mean, any athlete getting interviewed after, putting out that much energy, it's really tough to come to words. I'm sure you've experienced it. Even back when I experienced it, it's really tough. So, doing that in a non-native language, just shout out to her for being willing to jump on the mic for a second. And, by the next event,
Absolutely.
we have translators, boots on the floor, something we'll fix for the next one. But we're well aware of it. Chat, don't worry.
Well, and especially as technology grows, like I was just telling you guys, didn't even know about it because you've been so busy making this event for the last 50 days. But within that 50-day period of time, the new AirPods came out. You stick one in. If you say something in Japanese, I hear it in English. And if I say something in English, it tells me what to say in Japanese, and I can try to speak through that. So, I mean, as time goes on, technology is going to move on too, and we may not even need translators in the future. We might just need to throw some AirPods in. So who knows how it
Yeah.
goes? I'm not trying to coach it on that side of things, but I was just trying to give my flowers to Mito. She was just excited. She's gotten great at English, and as you said, Jimmy, she picked to do so. So
And
congratulations to the champ.
exactly, and let's talk about again. Mito is coming and battling other women. This is a women's division. Same thing with the breaking. It's now a women's division. That's something for me that we will continue and never let cross over. They will always be separated. And that is how professional sports are handled. And that's something we are always going to handle professionally.
With a maybe potential exception of a mixed doubles division down the road. Who knows? But again, like Maguire mentioned, no other event has this. And this is something on our end that's extremely important to grow the sport. You know why? Young women at home are watching Mita do what she does and are like, hey, I want to get into tricking now, right? We're going to grow that side of the sport because it's really important. And at the same time, it's a different style. Like her style is different from the people in the men's division. And I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, that was my favorite performance of the night, favorite battle of the night, because she is so talented and she's going to inspire an entire generation to come. So shout out to Mito. What an absolute killer in defending her belt again. And I'm excited for her next battle, who we're trying to get out for that one too, which I will keep closed lips on for now.
Yes. Amazing. Well, one final one I wanted to ask. Mike, you were sitting right there on the sideline. Ethan versus Alexander. What was your first thoughts watching them both battle it out?
It was cool. I mean, I can't say too much without revealing, what will only benefit me later on down the line. But um, like you said earlier, it does show how much athleticism it takes to be able to go out and do one division and come out and do the next. And Ethan's from Colorado. He probably has a tank of cardio, but he had one hell of a match in 2v2. And you saw how that kind of took a little bit of a toll on him going into the 1v1. And who knows, maybe it was even Alexander's pressure, probably a mixed bag of things. But, flowers to Alexander. He looked good. He did his thing. And he did what he set out to do. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Ethan for going out there and doing both. And it was hype. I mean, it was fun to sit back and enjoy and kind of study what's next for my next opponent. And, hopefully I can get back in there in time for the next event, if not the next one, and take it back. Not even take it back, but just like take his away. But yeah,
Did you expect him to land
congratulations
quad?
to the athletes.
Did you expect him to
Say
land
again?
quad or
No, I completely thought it was either gonna be, and I'm not saying that to hate on you, Alexander. Beef is squashed. But just from that competitive athlete perspective, I thought it was either gonna be like a 3.5 or he was gonna over rotate and kind of shimmy down a little bit. But he stopped it. It was a great quad, so he did
Well,
what he set out to do. Flowers to
I
him.
I think it just sets you and him up that much more. I mean, I'm excited for it. Like you said, whether it's this one or the next one, but it's going to be good. And kind of to wrap things out, some shout outs we want to give. Again, we already did, but Ethan, shout out my man. You stepped up, taking two battles in a night. Chat, that's something we are truly trying to avoid, but with Tiki needing a partner, it made the most sense to put Ethan in. It wouldn't have been fair to tell Tiki, hey, man, this is your partner. They need to pick their partners. So shout out to Ethan. Shout out to everybody that won, everyone that competed that night. But honestly, too, shout out to Lewis stepping up and killing it as the first time he's ever emceed an event. He is made for that job, no doubt.
He was
and shout
amazing too. I mean, just like such a personable guy to have a little bit of time to chat with him here and there. He was just like, I mean, he's a huge star. He's growing more and more right now. I mean, Mortal Kombat made him his own character that's never even been in the video games. So who knows? Maybe you see him in a video game one day as that character. But such a down to earth guy. Nothing but respect for Lewis. He was phenomenal.
insane to just, again, a lot of these people are faceless names, with our entire team, David, Matt, Bill, Mandy. I mean, there's so many people that are going and like crushing it behind the scenes to put on an event like this. Our family, our parents, our girlfriends, all of the people that it really takes a village to put something on like this, especially in 50 days. But I wanted to give another shout. I know she's not on today, but our host for the weekly live, Caitlin Deschelle, has been a dream to work with and just amazing throughout the process. And, she really has put a lot into this leading up and out of it. And Dan and Jack and, Dan has been a long, long, long time tricker, the trick professor. Jack is new to the scene. He's got a huge experience in action sports. So our teams are just going to start to mold and get better over time. And you're going to start to identify with all these people on camera and really welcome them into part of the sport as well. So I'm just really excited about that. But before we wrap up here, we are going to be
I'll
launching
touch
a new.
note on that. Sorry, before I don't want to go too
Yeah,
far
you're
off,
good.
but
You're good,
just
man.
shout out to how you said that, Jimmy. I mean, Caitlin absolutely killed it from
Oh,
everything that she did to give her time in all of these lives leading up to it. And she was constantly on a microphone and camera the whole event. So just
and
doubling back to how you said, shout out to Caitlin.
and she was under the weather significantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You wouldn't have known it. She killed it. She's meant for that role. Shout out, Kat. You're the best. Lewis
Shout out
killed
to
it.
our hype guy, man. The guy
Juan
himself, the man of the
Mr.
drum.
Juan.
Mr.
He did a
He was
great
great.
job in room. He did a great job in room, man, and just had again. There were so many people. I'm probably missing people, and if I am, I'm sorry. I'll call you this week to personally tell you. But there are so many people that really put a lot into this, and we'll continue to put a lot into this as we grow this thing. But
Yeah.
something we're excited about, essentially, is going to be like the Kobe Bryant detail series for tricking and for adrenaline with none other than the GOAT here. We're going to be analyzing battles coming out of this event, probably taking a week off next week for the holidays and coming back with this, but we'll keep you posted on the exact details. It's going to be really, really cool to have in-depth analysis of every single battle on our weekly show. And then we'll start to lead into the next event too. So the weekly show is not going away. It's going to be pretty amazing. But we aren't going to go into every single battle today because we're going to save that for the future weeklies. What we did want to highlight really quickly are the bonuses throughout the night. And Maguire, if you want to touch on these, but these are cash bonuses.
Yeah, and I know Adam has a question too about the payout for the event. Yes, Adam, this was by far a history broken on how much was getting paid, and that is going to continue to happen every single
six figures is what we'll say.
They're being modest with their words, to be careful here, but if you want to compare it to any other event, it is exponentially larger. I will just say that.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry
again,
if I'm
for the
revealing
spirit
too
of
many cards here, but they're taken care of. I'll just say that.
for the spirit of transparency with the chat and with our community, again, it's mid six figures and it's going to get to seven and it's going to get higher than that quicker and quicker and quicker. But the number one thing that I am happy about, it's not one person winning a bracket. Every single athlete gets guaranteed money to show up, guaranteed money if they win their battle, and there's bonuses throughout the night. Again, this is high six figures we're talking about. There's a lot of investment going into the sport, and it's not once a year. We're doing it again early in 26, and we're doing it 9 more times. This is going and going and going, and it's going to grow and grow and grow.
Let's talk about those bonuses, boys. Let's talk about it. Let's roll the first one. All right, trick of the night, Levi. Man, dude, he started the battle with such a bang, dude. When he hit that combo, I was like, he's so back. Congrats,
It's
Levi.
It was great to see him back too. It was so good to see him back and moving because it didn't seem like I think a lot of people can agree with me here where it didn't seem like Ethan, sorry, 2 and 2 there. They're so tied together to me spiritually there, but nobody really thought that they'd be seeing Levi anytime soon, and he came out and made a really great performance. And again, shout out to Senna. He still got paid. He still got paid, and he thankfully is not too severely injured. And we wish him a very speedy recovery. I think he'll be back in no time. He's super young.
I can tell you this right now, chat. Senna will be a future champion in the league. I don't know what division. I don't know when in time. That kid is so motivated, and I can call him a kid. He's still a freaking kid. He is so young and so good.
He's
And
18, right? Only 18?
he's only 18. He has a bright future ahead in the league. It's going to be special to see what he gets done. But again, shout out to Levi. He's back. That is part of the league, guys. We're getting guys back in the league. We're going to see new people rising up. You got a kid like Marcus Santos, young god in the chat. What's up? You already know you're going to see a kid like that running things here in the next 10 years. You got that next wave of talent moving up, but then you're also going to have, again, people that are coming out of retirement that I'm excited for that I can't reveal, but we're going to have some fun faces coming out of retirement as well here. But let's roll into the next person. Let's roll into the next one here.
Congratulations, Levi, on your bag.
Performance of the night. This
Good God.
is it. Hansel, oh my goodness. I got to say, guys, this was probably one of my favorite battles of the night. The first time running it, I mean, that was crazy.
Couldn't agree more. I think that was, and a lot of people that I've told this to, even my brothers, they're like, really? I think that might have been my battle of the night, like my favorite match to sit there and watch. And especially if you're there, like the boards are flying over your head. I'm looking back at Bailey's wife and I'm like, yo, put your hands up. You don't know what these girls, like, these boards are coming. So I mean, the three-dimensional effect of when you are live watching that on the side of the stage. I mean, because when you're an athlete, you're not necessarily as close to the stage. You're kind of peeking behind the curtain to get a view of the battles or watching on a monitor. But when you're live, especially right next to the stage, and those boards come flying at you like a 3D Jaws movie, it was phenomenal. That was very exciting.
And that
it was
was an amazing one presented by Cirque du Soleil, too. It's kind of a perfect partnership, right? Performance of the night with one of the best performance companies in the world. And, she was so excited to be recognized. And I think that's something for us as well, just growing that women's target tricking division. And she's probably the front runner for the championship belt, right? I mean, she's got to be at this point.
Yeah, and I'm seeing
Extremely
the chat
entertaining.
getting an UNC division going. Okay, guys. Okay, and that's something too. I don't want to reveal too much, but there's a lot of other divisions, guys, that we're going to be announcing. One, I'm excited. We'll release at one of our first Challenger events. Is going to be the biggest trick. We will have a full division for the biggest trick. Going to be crazy. But to finish up, battle of the night. Let's roll it in. You can't go wrong with this one, guys.
Man.
This 2v2,
this
it was insane, guys. It was truly, truly insane. I mean, Ethan Tiki, Fuju Haruki, I could watch this one on rerun all day and night. Congratulations to all four of them getting bonuses. Not just the winners, all four of them running up bonuses. Congrats, gents. Big time.
Well, Mike, real quick.
What a battle.
Yeah, I mean, what have you and Pinto talked? How are you feeling? This is
Hey, I think Pinto and I are thankful. Pinto and I are thankful to Ethan and Tiki for taking down what a threat those two are, Haruki and Fuju. I mean, it was looking like if they were going to win. I mean, you guys weren't telling me anything, but if I'm able to just sit back and, observe and use critical thinking, I was assuming that if they won that, it would be Jacob and I's next opponent. So hey, thank you, Ethan and Tiki, for setting back a massive battle for us. I'm sure that'll take place at some point in time. I'm absolutely sure that we'll face them off at some point. But hey, if there's anybody I'd rather 2v2, it might be Ethan and Tiki. Just, I mean, and obviously it's because they have like that. They're not in the same gym every single week like that. But again, that just goes to show how good they are for not having that tool in their back pocket, like training all the time together. I think they spent a little time in Japan, I heard, before this to get things prepared together.
Yeah.
But shout out to them. They absolutely killed it. Both of them did. Either way, if we had to battle either one, it's not going to be an easy match. Both were killers, and I'll just be honored to face off against either one. I mean, both guys, or all four rather, are incredible. So congratulations to everyone in that match.
Well, we'll get the official battle card coming out soon for the next one, but I think there's a high likelihood at some point in these next two events, we're going to see that 2v2 battle with you guys, Ethan Tiki. It's the match to make. It's going to be exciting.
For sure. For sure.
Totally. All right. Well, again, chat, we appreciate you guys joining in. This was a great one. We loved recapping the event with you guys. And hey, one more thing. Ask questions. I know we've loved answering your guys' questions in the chat. Feel free, message us. We're open books. That's what we're here for. It's funny. People think, oh, we're not answering this and that. Anyone that wants to I've had a lot of people hit me up. Hey, can we get on a call, talk about the event? I want to get your opinion on this. I'm always an open book. Jimmy's always an open book. Mike, I know you're always an open book. We're just excited to be pushing the sport here together and really taking this thing to the next level. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Layered Superfood, providing all energy for us. You guys are great. Keeping the athletes good to go. We truly appreciate it. And we're excited, guys. We're excited. The future starts now. The new era begins now. And we're ready for the next one.
And I was trying to read the chat this whole time to keep up and address things as we're on here, but you guys are keeping the chat busy. So shout out for all of you guys being in here and making all these comments. One I just read while those were playing back some of those highlights. I got to bring it up to Jimmy. It's too freaking funny. Somebody said I got to see the rematch of Jimmy versus Pinto sword battle.
Oh, Pinto, you have no shot, man. No, I'm just playing. Nah. Oh man,
That's too
one
funny,
day, one
man.
day.
Yeah, he pins it.
I need to get back to
Shout out
training
to
in
Matt.
general. I'm excited to train now that this event's over and I have a little more free time. Just get back in shape, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, I figured that would give you a good laugh. But yeah, shout out to you guys for having me on. I'm always honored to spend some time with everybody in the community and talk and reflect back on things. And this live is always so fun. I watch it every week, even if I can't catch it live because I'm busy with something. I always watch it back throughout the day with the AirPods in, as I'm taking care of the kids or whatever I got to do. I love watching this show. So thank you again for having me on.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
guys. Thank you, chat.
Awesome. All right. Much love, everybody. We'll see you guys on next week. Keep tricking, keep training. Peace out, y'all.
Later, guys.